On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, we are on a rescue mission. I am heading to a metal recycling company. They handle a whole lot of various metal here, and their metal baler is down. So they called my dad. He's rebuilding the control system on it, and he needs some more help. So they called me, and I'm on my way so that we can try to knock this thing out. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Chair Go, and today I am here with a car crusher, metal baler car crusher. It basically just takes a bunch of scrap, makes it into nice little cubes for them to ship out of here. Probably fits in a single semi after that. So this thing has been out of commission for a long time, and they called in Dad to fix it because I'm sure nobody else could fix it. So
kinda how I got it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, just from looking at it, it looks like it's been abandoned for years, but clearly it's in a very active recycling yard here. And let's see, we got a big hydraulic tank there. I'm guessing hydraulic pump sticking on the top.
Yeah, so this is the main hydraulic reservoir for the entire machine. We have return filters coming back.
Oh yeah, pods of them?
Yeah, those are return pumps. These are all hydraulic actuators for different cylinders on the machine. So when they called me in, they had been trying to get people to work on it for quite some time, and everybody would just say no thanks, because it looked, well, it was a disaster.
It's a mess.
It was really a problem. One of the key things that was wrong was
oh, this is the hydraulic pump. I don't know.
This is the main hydraulic pump for the machine. So one of the key things that was wrong with the machine was this big cylinder right here. This is the main ram. This thing cubes cars. You can drop a small car in there and it'll just push it out as a cube. But when it came in, this ram was fully pushed into the chamber there, and they couldn't get it out. And you can see there's lots of things damaged that we still got to fix. This is a
That was just there to set the limit switch?
This actually comes, this limit switch comes down here and rides onto here, and supposed to turn it off, and you can see it's all bent up. So anyways, I've got to re-engineer all this and fix all this. This is the main hydraulic line to push right here. This is your main.
And you can see the returns disconnected down there too, which I guess they had to do to pull the ram back, probably.
Right. So so like I say, this thing was shoved clear in, and you know, this part moves right here. This is the ram. Yep. This is your main ram that drives in. The end's got a big flat piece down there. So this just covers the rod. This is strictly a rod cover. This is the main cylinder. And as you can see, it's, I don't know, it must be 14 inches in diameter.
That's huge.
This one line right here is still missing. That's your main input line. And they twisted off the bolt down here on the end, so I got to get that bolt out of there, which that's no big deal. But I'll get that out, get that fixed. But you can see everything on it's broke. That limit switch is bad. All the conduit was bad. All the wiring was bad. Look at them lines right there. That you know that they're coming off the one of the main hydraulic lines there. You can see that thing was. Look how many times it's been welded.
Oh yeah. It's all boogered up and just stacked with this 90. Yeah.
Really, everything on it was bad. So, anyways, I'm just, you know, this is just one great big jigsaw puzzle. And
here's our hydraulic fluid cooler here. It's a giant radiator with another 4-horse motor. How big is this motor? 10 or 100 horse? It's got to be 100 horse, right?
Oh, the main drive?
Yeah.
90 kW. So, there's 0.746 kilowatts.
Per horsepower?
In a horsepower, so that's about 75.
75 horse. It is huge.
So it's a big motor.
That you can see when it was built, it was nice, and they put a lot of care into it. It's got flex couplers on the hydraulic lines and all that good stuff. But since it's been serviced for years and years and years, it's basically just been tore apart. All the wiring's gone. These are all the solenoids for the controls there on those valves, and all the Liquitite that's left on the machine is cracked for the most part. Oh, and here's the old control panel. Well, the old junction box, really.
This junction box was sitting right where your feet are.
Okay, right and, here. You can see where all that dirt is.
And it was, all the wiring was broke off. The wiring was just hanging out in free air. It's had lots of, well.
Oh, look at that. All you have to do is move the Liquitite and it breaks.
Yeah, it's just, all the Liquitite was shot on it. So what we did was I decided that I was not going to work on this piece of trash. It was going to be fixed and fixed right from the...
Well, it had water ingress too.
Oh yeah. Ingress. So what I did was I designed a replacement for all this. And today we're fitting it on. Okay. Get this.
Oh, it has to go around the top. Gotcha. Wow. Wow, it has to go up high.
Got it. Okay, hold it. I got it. Grab the line. I got it. Grab the lines. Behind me, they're hooked. Hooked on everything.
Yeah. Much nicer.
Well, I designed it so it would drop right back on these bolts.
Nice.
And I still got to put some washers in there.
A lot better than it just laying down.
Woo. These are the main
connectors?
Electrical connectors. I got to check their length. They go in here.
See those giant weatherproof connectors.
Let me go grab them.
Cool.
So if I did this right, they should be long enough.
They do look long enough.
That's gonna go right there.
So are we actually ready to mount this one? And
no, I'm just checking lengths.
All of these run back into this junction box. You can see the terminal strip with the Wago connectors there to let you make these junctions. It looks a lot cleaner. And these labels are the labels on the switches. Tough to see with the light, but each switch has a corresponding label like 821. Solenoid, that is. This is another replacement junction box, but we're finding hilarious stuff on this machine. Like here, the Liquitite runs into split loom tubing from a car that's electrical taped, and that's literally there and exposed to the elements. And you know this is all at high. It's at least, you know, medium voltage. Well, the switches are 120 or something, single phase.
Yeah, they'd be 120.
120.
Okay, so the wire's all hooked up. That's a good first step.
Yep.
I just got to route them. And to make this easy, when we started, I took a bunch of these repair tags,
labeled each solenoid connector,
brought them down here, and then took a
paint marker
and marked on every one of these. So this is 827 and 828 go right there. Now I've marked all those internally.
Yep.
Now our job today is to cut flex to come back over here. I've got all new DIN connectors back at the shop to replace all these DINs. So we've got to cut flex for every one of those. So I've got an entire roll of flex in the back of the truck.
And a Sawzall.
And a Sawzall. And we've got to get 3 motors powered up.
So this thing is old and dumb, isn't it? It doesn't have like an LCD that reads out pressure on any of the hydraulic lines or safeties really, or?
Well, not yet.
I mean, there's 3 hydraulic gauges, but that's the only thing I've seen that could be pulling pressure off the system.
Yeah, this is pretty old. We can go upstairs and look at the control panel. I haven't started on that mess yet.
Oh, the control panel looks nice. Can't see any of the labels anymore.
Yeah, so there's your, who needs a digital readout?
Oh, you got a real gauge there you can look at to see if there's an emergency. Not a beeper for the operators that don't care.
Come down here and you can see. So the way this thing works is you dump all your scrap in that scrap box. It's kind of a measuring box. You fill that thing full.
And it flips over.
It flips over and lands on top and doesn't come completely over, but it dumps it basically into this area. Now then the next step is this piece right here with all the welding on it to keep it from sliding.
Yeah.
That piece there folds up and comes over and stops. And you can see down there on the end.
You have about a cylinder.
Well, yeah, you can see that point right there?
Exactly.
That's this point right here.
Yep.
Stops right there, and you can see.
They put a bunch more welding in there to try to create friction.
I suppose. I don't know why you'd want friction right there.
I don't either.
To me, that's where you wouldn't want friction. Then this big piece right here folds over, and you can see it. It folds over to make the top part of the cube.
Yep.
And then this piece right here, this side right here,
flat enough that it creates the side of the cube.
You can see the flat right there. So
okay.
It's flat from here to here, and then there's where the curve starts.
Yep.
So that forms this curve, and then there's the big ram.
Ram comes in and slides right there, and that door opens.
Yeah, well, you crush, right?
Yeah.
You crush and then open. You can see it. There's been all kinds of welds. See that thing right there? I mean, they've welded on.
Not safe.
Look at that thing.
Yeah, it's completely sideways off the pipe.
Hey, we got the end off a hose. Let's just weld it on the pipe. I mean, the So, I mean, we're just starting on this thing. Well, that probably was a piece. That was a piece of pipe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See, there was a piece of pipe that went from
cut it
there
off and
over
put flex on it.
And I bet you that was a hard piece of pipe right there that came up. And they've cut them off and just welded on pieces. And but you know,
it worked.
It'll work until it blows.
It'll work till it breaks.
But that piece right, that big cylinder right there
is the door.
Well, yeah, that's your door. So that piece, and I don't know what this other big piece is back here. I suppose it
must be another hydraulic cylinder.
It's a giant ram of some sort. Look at the size of that pipe on it. Anyway,
it looks like at one point it had heat based on what people have been doing in here. Maybe they had
probably had an HVAC and
window unit.
Window unit.
Yeah.
This is the control system that I haven't even started.
Hey, do the hood struts work? They don't work, do they?
No. Well,
of course they don't.
Just like every car you buy. This one, of course, was glued on.
Why was that glued on?
Well, I didn't want a fastener up here. It just needs a row of stainless steel fasteners going across there.
Carriage bolts.
Get all this mess straightened out. So I got to straighten that out.
Yep.
All these come loose. I mean, so got a main power transformer here.
Old school.
That says it takes in 480, but I don't know why they were. These guys were thinking they needed a step down. There's a PLC.
Ooh, it's a Slick 500, isn't it?
Slick 500, that's right.
Yeah.
This is my hydraulic controller. That's a standard. I've had to change a lot of these old guys. This is just a standard power controller for a 4-20.
Hey, at least it's all Siemens and AB.
Oh yeah, everything in here is going to be easy to fix.
Yeah.
It's just one thing at a time. So
each one of these moves a hydraulic ram.
Yeah, I'm sure.
On today's episode of Lock Picking Lawyer. It doesn't want to do it.
It'll open up.
There it's going.
It's the mechanism.
There we got a big Allen Bradley contactor.
So that'll be the main contactor for the main hydraulic pump, and these will be the
these contactors for the cores.
Well, one will be for the heater, one will be for the cooling fan, and one will be for the small hydraulic pump. One of them just runs the small hydraulic.
Yeah. So it looks like this one. Maybe there was more Siemens stuff in there. I don't know why there's one Siemens contactor.
Oh yeah, somebody's changed these out. They didn't come with these, more than likely.
Yeah.
Somebody's been in there changing. Yeah, there's been a bunch of stuff changed. This old processor here. Wow, look at that. It's got
T500 36V8.
It's got removable RAM.
Oh. So the later Slick 500s have soldered on?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You can't take it. This one's old. Good golly, it's an L520. It's a 5.2. Yeah, it's a 5.2. I'm sure the lithium battery's bad.
Oh yeah.
Now the nice thing about it, which is actually very nice, is I can put in a Slick 505, drop it right back in the same hole, and nothing here is.
All the cards will be fine.
Yeah, that's.
So the PLC is the programmable logic controller, just to kind of cover that power supply sitting in here, and then there's a backplane bus, kind of like at your computer at home. You throw cards in it. These cards are all the inputs and outputs. So these are all the inputs from like the limit switches and all these buttons up here, and then all these outputs. All that wiring will run down to either a contactor or a solenoid.
This runs all the hydraulic solenoids.
And then over here we have these are all 24 volt, right? And then this is 115 volt.
115 volt.
And then
that's just a slot filler.
This is literally the control. This controls the whole machine right here. This is the actual computer, and it interfaces with everything on the back plane. So that's what a PLC is. And this is honestly, when we started doing this stuff, Slick 500s were pretty cool, but Micrologics was coming out,
Yeah.
And now that's an antique.
This is like a Model T.
Yeah.
In this business, and it's very hard to find parts. Well, unlike Model Ts,
right?
Which you can find parts. This would be more like a Studebaker
from Duesenberg or something.
Yeah. No. I'd rather have the Duesenberg. I would go look for parts for a Deuce. Anyway, so the good thing about it is this has been end of life. You cannot buy, or you can still buy these parts, but the Slick series has been end of life by Allen Bradley, and it's on the way out. The good thing about it is there's lots of options for this machine. And I can drop a Control Logix rack in here and replace all of it, just, in a couple of days. Just the hardest part is just transferring the wires over, because the program can be converted if we got the program.
Hopefully it pulls off.
I doubt there is a program on this, because usually this is not double EEPROM. It's usually RAM kept alive by this battery.
And so power off too long or that battery dies, you're out of luck.
Yeah, what most people don't know about these old slicks, I find people doing this all the time, is they think this is a rechargeable battery.
Oh.
It's a lithium battery, so every time the power's off, you consume some.
Yep.
Well, I can guarantee you that this has been off a long time.
Absolutely.
So anyways,
all the new processors are actually fast. This is probably almost like Motorola processor, old school level.
Oh yeah.
Right. The new ones have Ethernet and they're super fast.
Matter of fact,
all kinds of cool stuff.
You can usually see the processor.
Oh,
I'm gonna say it's probably that's Intel 1980.
That's it's an Intel Philips chip. Yeah, it does seem like that's it.
Yeah, and this is probably the I/O handler for the processor.
Yep.
And then everything else is just.
Oh, what's over there? Motorola FAK9518.
Look at there. There's the firmware.
1994 firmware.
Yeah. Slick 500.
Oh.
I doubt that I can upgrade that firmware. If you could even find it, but I'm not even going to attempt it.
So is this the serial? Oh, the serial's going to like that.
No, this is your screen.
Oh, it does have an HMI. Interesting.
Sort of. It's really
old school,
and that's probably dead too. I mean, this stuff's old. The bad thing about it is if you change that, you got to change this. But this really needs to be changed.
Yeah, it could use a little LCD.
It needs more information. The nice thing about it is if he's got the money, we can make this thing. We can make it supercharged and
get
right down the highway.
Here's that control tower. It is way up high. I mean, you're 20 foot in the air up there. Just the platform's 4 or 5 feet. And that platform's pretty crazy. You can see it's all sitting on 12, 14 something inch I-beam. And then these massive platforms on the ground that have been welded together. This last cylinder we found out is a shear from the control panel. And that shear cuts the bricks so you can have something manageable that lands right here. It's an Idromec, IDRO-MEC built this thing in Verona, Italy. Here's that flip open measuring cup, and it looks like they've hooked a forklift or something up to pull this thing down, pull against it. So they can open that door back up because it probably broke closed. Here's some of the limit switches we were talking about. This is one of the ones that tells you if the curved door is open or closed. It looks like it's missing its limit. This one still works. It's had some, it's been shored up to make sure the limit actually gets hit. I bet it was having problems, but it's too tight. Oh, no, it's not. It's okay. That's all right. It's got a little wheel that rides on it. Here's the push cylinder. It's gigantic. And there's the block that pushes on the cube it makes. And I cleaned up the control panel so you guys can have a good idea of what it's like to operate this thing, other than the fact that you can't see out of the glass, but you can see all the labels now. These are the alarms, motor overloads, the greaser, filters, minimum oil level in the tank, pump start, so there's a button for that. Oil pump stop, a button for that. There's the heater, that's probably the main lockout for everything. Power for the controls right there, motor control start probably. Cooling, we've got, that one says additional controls, I think. Check pressure. Anyway, this operates all the cylinders, how all the magic happens. Open curved door, open flat door, a head plate, and then this one here is that shear on the very end, the biggest, one of the second biggest cylinder on the thing. And this is the biggest cylinder, the pusher. There is a proportional valve here, probably lets you control some of the speed of the machine, and it appears to be the only one. So there you have it. Those are the controls on a 90s car crusher, basically. So we're stringing out the Liquitite Octopus here. This comes out to every one of these solenoids right there. Like Dad said, those are all numbered, and they each run home to that junction box. And then those run in those big umbilicals up into the bottom of the cab. So getting there. That's basically all of them in just a few minutes. Then we'll have to pull in wire after that. There's no book on this or anything. You saw Dad labeled all this with a paint marker. This is one of those rebuild by reverse engineering projects. So you just kind of have to see what they did and then
I might be able to get books for it.
Connect the dots, honestly. But yeah,
at this point I don't need the books because it's just putting the pieces back together.
And it's a pretty simple machine overall.
Once the electrical parts straighten out, the hydraulics should be straightforward.
Absolutely. All right, we've been in here working for a few hours. We've replaced most of the Liquitite running to all the switches and everything on this machine. We found some more problems just now. Also, this is what it's like to stand inside of a car crusher. Like Dad was saying, this thing flips up and then this thing flips down, and this does the crushing right here. It has a whole bunch of cylinders on it. So after it's done crushing, that ram comes out right there and then pushes that box out, and that's the shear and also the stop. So the stop opens and then the shear chops up the blocks for you, so you can decide whatever size you want. Pretty cool. This is the measuring cup that flips your scrap metal into it and lets you get to work with the buttons. So we just finished pulling out some multi-conductor cable. Found another box up here at the top on the shear cylinder. It's that one right there. And there's a disaster inside there. So all of that's got to get replaced. That's on the list now. 2 more limit switches over there for the shear. Now this thing isn't going to run for a few weeks still. There's a whole bunch of connectors that have to come in, and a bunch of the hydraulic hoses have been taken and lost. You can see that some of them are looped back through. That's the one for the measuring dump. That flips that over, and it needs actually 4 hoses made just for that, because 2 cylinders. And some of these hoses that are the main supply to those, they're supposed to connect over there, and you can see where all that tape's sticking up on that valve. They're just gone, totally missing. Quite a few other parts like pins for those cylinders that flip that thing over, that all needs made still. So a little ways to go before the thing runs, but pretty fun replacing most of the electrical on it today. So today we made up all these boxes here, all the whips. You can see these are about ready to hook up to their switches once they get their DIN connectors, and that's where the machine's gonna stay for the day. So I guess it's not moving anyway, pretty obvious. So that's what it's like to work on a car crusher. This thing will be back together in probably 2 or 3 weeks when all the parts come in, and all the new wire gets pulled in as well. 1-2 more days of solid work. This has never actually run here before. They just moved it here and set a service right beside it. So that's why it's all getting put back together right now, because it hasn't worked since it was at the last location. Also, this was like, it's probably the last nice day of the year. 68 degrees today, unbelievable. And we're, what, almost December. So we had to get all of this outdoor stuff wrapped up as fast as we could. Give you guys a real quick update on this. The panels with their umbilicals are back here at the shop, so we're gonna make up all the whips, pull wire into this panel here, and just kind of get everything ready to head back over there and go on the machine. It'll still need the new ends, and that is the old setup right there.
Actually, that's upside down.
Going away. Yeah, it actually stayed relatively clean inside. Didn't have much water going on it.
Didn't have any water in it, but this was totally packed full of wires.
Oh yeah.
It was up against a steel leg that was about that far away.
Oh, so you couldn't work on it at all.
We could get the nuts off of the studs, but you couldn't get the cover off of here because the studs were too close to the leg. So we ended up grinding the bolt off the bottom down there that held it onto the machine. As you can see, that's the way all the flexes were.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's that DIN connector.
Yeah, this is the connectors that we got to put on. I want that one. All I want this for is just this nut or adapter. These are M16 by 1.5 millimeter pitch thread, and surprisingly, even though it's metric,
fits in the 3/8.
Yeah, it'll fit onto a standard SAE fittings. I'm sorry, I don't know where they're. Oh, here they are. So
yeah,
you can take a regular old 3/8 SAE fitting, and you can put that back on here, and
good to go.
Now you can. I mean, you have to get rid of the NPT one, but at least I can still
use it.
You can see the difference in the thread. That's NPT. That's M16. So all the switches on this thing and all these connectors, I've got all brand new connectors.
Somewhere? Oh, they're in this box.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
So these are the this is the new replacement for that. All you got to do is pull this out, pitch that out of there.
Grab that rubber grommet out.
Take the rubber grommet out. Pitch that out of there. Take these 2 screws out with the cable clamp. That's an exact replacement.
Nice.
And this little end that I just took off of that one.
You do have to save the pins though?
Nope, we got all brand new ones.
Oh, okay.
This screws back on here. Then electrical connector, that plugs in, and you just have to plug it in the right direction so you can reverse this to whatever you need to get it to lay out.
The orientation?
You get the orientation right. Anyways, I set myself up a whole lot of
Wire tigers.
There's a whole lot of cipher in here. Pin 1 goes to pin T3, which is actually wire number 46. So I had to go through and sort all those wires out and figure out which one's which. So that's kind of my master map. That's my length on all my Liquitite, which turned out to be
all wrong.
Completely wrong. And then one of the guys here at Aces went ahead and
drew it.
He laid that out for me because, well, he wanted to have a picture before he got started. So I just went ahead and let him do that one. The other one, I just did that all just by looking at it and saying,
right.
That's all T-LAR engineering over there.
There.
You know what T-LAR is, right?
No.
That looks about right.
That looks about right.
Yeah. So that's how I did that one. So that's how all that
came to be.
Came out.
All right, we're gonna pull some wire in these things, and we'll show you when it's done. Now we have the oil tank panel, all the wire pulled in, the grounds are landed, and there's one of the motors right there. I think that's the tank stirrer or feed motor or something like that. And yeah, ready to start hooking all that up to the DIN plugs there. And after that, it's ready to go back on the machine and plug it in. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchgrgrow.com for cool shirts not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. Hey, my truck weighs 8260, 8280 with me in it. That's awesome. Check out this new addition to the shop. This is one of those carpet rolls from Lowe's, big box stores, stuff like that. Pretty cool, huh?